There is a flaw inside every human being. A flaw so subtle most never notice it. It waits quietly. It feeds on emotion, on impulse, on weakness. And the moment you stop paying attention, takes everything from you. Your power, your respect, your influence, your sense of control. Machiavelli warned about this flaw more than 500 years ago. He called it the enemy within the self. Today, psychologists call it something different. But the effect is the same. It makes you predictable, reactive, fragile. The kind of person others can manipulate without lifting a finger. This flaw is the reason some people command rooms without saying a word, while others disappear even when they scream. It is the reason the strong rise, and the weak are swallowed by their own emotions. Pause. In this documentary, you'll learn how this hidden flaw quietly destroys your personal power, your relationships, your reputation, and your ability to influence the world around you. And you'll learn exactly how to eliminate it. With the same cold, calculated mindset Machiavelli taught to princes, generals, and rulers. The core idea. The hidden flaw is simple. You react instead of observe. The moment your emotions take command, your power collapses. Machiavelli wrote, "He who controls his nature controls his fortune." Yet most people do the opposite. They hand over control of their nature to the world. Someone insults them and they crumble. Someone ignores them and they chase. Someone challenges them and they explode. They become puppets, strings pulled by anyone who knows their triggers. This weakness is ancient, but so is the cure. Today, we uncover the dark psychology behind this flaw, and the ruthless lessons that teach you how to neutralize it forever. Lesson 1. You lose power the moment you become predictable. Predictability is the death of influence. When people know exactly what will upset you, what will motivate you, what will make you react, you are no longer a threat. You are no longer mysterious. You are no longer powerful. Psychologist Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." When your reactions are automatic, emotional, and transparent, you're not acting from strength. You're acting from programming. Pause for impact. This is how manipulators win. They don't overpower you. They simply learn what makes you flinch. That is the flaw. Predictability is weakness. Unpredictability is armor. Effective affirmation. My reactions are my weapons. I use them with intention, not impulse. Lesson 2. Emotional rushes are a form of self-sabotage. Most people believe emotions are honest expressions. Machiavelli disagreed. He wrote that emotions are the tempests that sink a man faster than his enemies. When anger spikes, you speak before thinking. When fear grows, you shrink before acting. When pride inflates, you overestimate your strength. When desire burns, you trust the wrong people. Every emotional rush is a trap. This is why the calm are feared. The stoic are respected. The ones who pause before speaking rule over those who react without thinking. A king who panics becomes a prisoner. A general who hesitates becomes a corpse. And an ordinary person who lets emotion take control loses power in the eyes of everyone watching. Your ability to slow your internal storms is what separates strength from collapse. Effective affirmation. I do not chase emotional storms. I observe them until they pass. Lesson 3. The world respects silence more than explanation. The weak explain, over-explain, justify, defend, plead, seek validation. They believe that if they talk enough, people will understand their intentions. But powerful people know the opposite is true. Silence creates authority. In silence, others must guess your motives. In silence, you reveal nothing they can use against you. In silence, you force the world to lean in closer. Robert Greene wrote, "Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less." The mistake most humans make, the flaw that ruins their power, is the urge to fill every silence with words. Words are confessions. Silence is strategy. Effective affirmation. My silence is my advantage. It reveals nothing and controls everything. Lesson 4. You train people how to treat you by what you tolerate. People don't listen to your words. They listen to your boundaries. If someone disrespects you, and you stay, you've taught them you accept disrespect. If someone lies to you, and you forgive instantly, you've taught them you're easy to manipulate. If someone ignores your value, and you continue giving, you've taught them that your presence is cheap. The flaw here is subtle. Most people think compassion earns respect. But Machiavelli warned, men forget the kindness you give, but they remember the strength you show. Your boundaries define you more than your personality, more than your achievements, more than your words. People treat you based on what you allow, not what you say you deserve. Effective affirmation. My tolerance is intentional. I permit nothing that weakens my value. Lesson 5. Attachment makes you blind to reality. One of the most dangerous flaws in human psychology is emotional attachment to people, outcomes, or identities. Attachment clouds judgment. It makes you defend things that destroy you. It makes you cling to relationships long after respect has died. It makes you stay in environments that slowly drain your power. Jung called attachment a form of psychic possession, the moment when something owns you emotionally. Machiavelli warned leaders never to love anything more than their own stability, because attachment forces you to choose emotion over strategy. Detachment is not coldness. It is clarity. A person who can walk away at any time cannot be controlled. Effective affirmation. Nothing owns me. My mind stays free, sharp, and unbound. Lesson 6. Most people crave approval, and that makes them weak. Approval is a subtle drug. It rewards you with dopamine. It makes you feel accepted, validated, seen. But every powerful thinker throughout history has issued the same warning. The moment you crave approval, you become controlled by those who give or withhold it. Machiavelli wrote, "He who depends on others to elevate him will be ruined when they withdraw." Humans desperately want to be liked. They search for validation in silence, in gestures, in the reactions of others. But this craving bends them into shapes they were never meant to take. Psychologists call it externalized identity. You no longer act to uphold your values. You act to avoid disappointing others. That is not freedom. That is obedience. A powerful person does not seek approval. They seek alignment. Those who resonate will stay. Those who don't were never meant to walk beside you. Effective affirmation. I don't seek approval. I seek alignment with my principles. Lesson 7. People respect certainty more than kindness. Kindness is appreciated. Certainty is obeyed. This is why gentle leaders fall, and decisive ones rise. Robert Greene said, "Boldness strikes fear. Fear creates respect." Most people lose power because they hesitate. They want to be polite, agreeable, accommodating. But the world doesn't follow kindness. It follows conviction. A person who knows where they stand commands more influence than a person who tries to stand everywhere. Consider Julius Caesar. He was generous, charismatic, respectful. But what made men follow him into impossible battles was his unwavering certainty. A leader who projects doubt weakens the entire structure beneath them. A strong mind stabilizes everyone watching. People trust the steady hand in the storm, not the friendly voice that trembles. Effective affirmation. My certainty shapes reality. My strength stabilizes the world around me. Lesson 8. Everyone is watching how you handle pressure. Pressure is the ultimate revelation. It shows who is disciplined and who is ruled by chaos. Machiavelli believed that pressure exposes a person more quickly than their successes. He wrote, "Adversity reveals whether a man is ruled by virtue or by fortune. Watch anyone under pressure. Their mask cracks, their habits surface, their true self steps into the light." This is why powerful people remain composed. Not because they feel nothing, but because they understand the stakes. When you handle pressure with calm precision, you separate yourself from 99% of humanity. People follow those who stay focused when others panic. People admire those who think clearly when others drown in emotion. Your response to pressure is your public resume. Even if no one says it, everyone is judging it. Effective affirmation. Pressure reveals my discipline. I remain calm, sharp, and strategic. Lesson 9. Your self-talk makes you powerful or powerless. The world is loud, but the loudest voice you hear is the one inside your head. If your inner dialogue is weak, you will behave weakly. If your inner dialogue is chaotic, you will live chaotically. Carl Jung famously wrote, "What you say to yourself becomes your fate." Most people feed their minds with fear, doubt, regret, excuses. They rehearse failure until it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. A powerful mind speaks differently, confronts challenges with clarity. It talks to itself with strength. It reinforces discipline instead of emotion. Self-talk is internal leadership. If you cannot lead your own mind, you cannot lead anything else. Effective affirmation. My inner voice obeys strength, clarity, and purpose. Lesson 10. You give away power when you reveal your wounds. Everyone has wounds, traumas, memories that cut deep, but revealing them to the wrong people turns them into weapons. This is why Machiavelli warned rulers never to expose their vulnerabilities openly. Not because vulnerability is bad, but because humans are unpredictable. Many will offer sympathy, some will offer comfort, but a few will use your pain to control you. Even today, psychologists agree, when you share your deepest wounds with people who haven't earned your trust, you create a psychological lever they can pull. The world is full of people who weaponize emotions, and the easiest ammunition to access is the story you willingly hand them. Be open, but selectively. Share, but with discernment. Protect your inner fortress. Effective affirmation. My wounds are sacred. I reveal them only to the worthy. Lesson 11. Not reacting is more powerful than reacting. When someone tries to provoke you, they expect a reaction. They expect anger, defensiveness, desperation, embarrassment. And when you refuse to react, you break their entire strategy. This is why Machiavelli said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does at last." The fool reacts. The wise man observes, calculates, and acts with precision. Non-reaction is not weakness. It is psychological dominance. It tells the world, you cannot pull my strings. You cannot control my state. You cannot dictate my emotions. It makes manipulators nervous. It makes enemies confused. It makes observers respect you. Learn the art of the pause. It turns chaos into leverage. Effective affirmation. My calm is untouchable. Your chaos cannot enter my mind. Lesson 12. Power belongs to those who can walk away. This is the ultimate rule. The final key. The most feared principle of personal power. The person who can walk away is untouchable. In relationships, the attached partner loses power. In business, the desperate negotiator loses leverage. In life, the person who cannot let go becomes a prisoner of what they cling to. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He advised rulers to love their people, but never to need them. When you need something, you obey it. When you can walk away, you rule it. The ability to detach is the ability to choose. And the ability to choose is the essence of power. Effective affirmation. The revelation. The hidden flaw exposed. Now you understand the pieces. Predictability. Attachment. Emotional reactivity. The craving for approval. Weak boundaries. Loss of inner authority. These are branches growing from the same poisonous root. The hidden flaw, the one Machiavelli warned rulers about, is this: you let the external world dictate your internal state. When something outside of you controls something inside of you, your power is no longer yours. You become reactive instead of strategic. You respond instead of direct. You bend instead of stand. The flaw is not emotion itself. The flaw is surrender. Every loss of power stems from this one mental surrender. You let people, events, and circumstances command your reactions. This is why Machiavelli insisted that a leader be both lion and fox, strong enough to face threats, and cunning enough to never reveal their weakness. Power is internal first, external second, and until you master that ordering, your influence will crumble the moment life applies pressure. The psychology of power loss. Modern psychology echoes Machiavelli's ancient warning. When you act from impulse instead of intention, your brain moves from the prefrontal cortex, the rational center, down into the amygdala, the primitive emotional center. In this state, you lose nuance. You lose strategic thinking. You lose long-term planning. You lose perception of subtle cues. You lose the ability to evaluate threats accurately. You're not you anymore. You're the weakest version of yourself. Accidental, emotional, exposed. This is the exact state manipulators want you in. It's the state where you say too much, give too much, trust too much, apologize too much, and collapse too quickly. When you react emotionally, you regress psychologically, and the world exploits regression. Machiavelli understood this timeless truth. The person who can master their internal chaos can shape the external world. The person who cannot becomes shaped by it. The counterflaw, the mind of the untouchable. What does a powerful person do differently? They think before reacting. They observe before deciding. They detach before committing. They pause before speaking. They act from intention, not impulse. This is not coldness. It is control. It is the state that generals maintained before war. It is the state that philosophers cultivated before writing. It is the state that kings trained themselves to reach before judgment. To become untouchable, you must master a simple but brutal discipline. Slow down your psychological tempo. Most people live at a chaotic internal speed. Thoughts race. Feelings spike. Reactions explode. But powerful people move slower internally. Their mind is calm. Their breath is controlled. Their emotions are measured. They create distance between the trigger and their response, between the insult and their decision, between the pressure and their action. It is in this distance that strength grows. The untouchable mind is built from this distance. The mind that loses power is trapped by the lack of it. The dark principle. Never reveal your inner state. If someone knows your mental state, they know where to strike. If someone knows your fears, they know how to control you. If someone knows your triggers, they know how to move you. Your internal world must remain private. This doesn't mean being emotionless. It means expressing emotion intentionally, not automatically. The strategist Sun Tzu said, "Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak." To do that, you must control the surface of your emotions. Powerful people are emotionally intelligent, but externally opaque. They feel deeply, but reveal selectively. They think intensely, but speak strategically. They process internally, but act deliberately. The weak show everything. The strong decide what to show. Effective affirmation. My mind is a fortress. No one enters without permission. The shadow of the self. Why people sabotage their own power. Carl Jung believed that every human has a shadow, the dark, unconscious side that influences behavior. Most people never confront their shadow. They deny it, ignore it, fear it. But denial gives the shadow power. It leaks out in unconscious reactions, childish outbursts, jealous impulses, and self-destructive habits. Your shadow becomes the puppeteer, pulling the strings behind your flaws. Machiavelli's warning was not moral. It was psychological. The prince who fears his own shadow is ruled by it. The prince who understands it becomes unpredictable, strategic, and sovereign. Your shadow contains your triggers, your impulses, your emotional history, your unprocessed wounds. You cannot master the world until you master the part of yourself that the world never sees. Effective affirmation. I face my shadow with clarity, so it can never rule me. The three forms of power that most people never develop, according to both ancient strategy and modern psychology. There are three forms of personal power. 1. Internal power, mastery over emotion and perception. This is the foundation. Without internal mastery, external influence collapses instantly. 2. Interpersonal power, influence over relationships and social dynamics. This is built from boundaries, certainty, and strategic communication. 3. Positional power, control created by status, skill, or authority. This is the outermost layer, and the least stable. Most people chase positional power. They want rank, titles, dominance, achievement. But without internal and interpersonal power, positional power is fragile. A high-status person with no discipline collapses under pressure. A respected leader with no emotional control loses respect quickly. A wealthy individual who reacts impulsively becomes easily manipulated. Machiavelli said, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. But the first method for estimating the power of a person is to look at the control they have over themselves. Without internal stability, no external structure can protect you." Effective affirmation. I build power from within. No external force can shake my foundation. The final transformation. Becoming unmanipulatable. Power is not about domination. It is not about cruelty, aggression, or ego. In the Machiavellian sense, power is self-possession. It is the ability to hold your center, no matter what forces try to pull you off balance. It is the discipline of remaining strategic when others descend into impulse. It is the capacity to observe yourself as sharply as you observe the world. Once you understand this, the hidden flaw becomes unmistakably clear. Most people lose power because they abandon themselves. They abandon their focus, their boundaries, their self-respect, their long-term vision, their values, their emotional discipline. The world pushes, and they collapse inward. The world tempts, and they chase outward. The world provokes, and they react immediately. Machiavelli observed this in nobles, soldiers, businessmen, advisors, and rulers. He wrote, "The man who can command himself is prepared to command others." This is the essence of true psychological power. Command yourself first. The world follows. The final dark lesson. You must become aware of your patterns. Most people believe they act logically. They don't. Humans repeat emotional patterns like clockwork. The same arguments, the same mistakes, the same attachments, the same reactions, the same insecurities, the same self-sabotage. Your patterns are visible to everyone except you. Your enemies study them. Manipulators weaponize them. Life exploits them. But once you become aware of your patterns, you break the hidden flaw permanently. You stop being predictable. You stop being reactive. You stop being manipulable. Self-awareness is the antidote. Without it, you live in an illusion. With it, you become dangerous in the best possible way. Effective affirmation. I master my patterns. I rise above everything that once controlled me. The ascent. How powerful people think differently. When you rise above the hidden flaw, your entire psychological landscape changes. You no longer rush into emotional storms. You watch them pass. You no longer need approval. You respect your own judgment. You no longer cling to people. Your self-worth becomes self-generated. You no longer react to disrespect. You handle it with strategy, not emotion. You no longer broadcast your weaknesses. You protect your inner world like a fortress. You no longer lose yourself under pressure. You become sharper. You no longer reveal your internal state. You become unreadable. You no longer fear walking away. Your independence becomes your leverage. You stop living through triggers and start living through intention. The result? You become the one people study, not the one people use. The Machiavellian ideal. Balance between shadow and strength. Machiavelli never encouraged cruelty. He encouraged clarity. He encouraged realism. He encouraged a level of self-mastery that few people ever reach. He believed human nature is predictable, and the wisest individuals are those who learn its patterns. without being swallowed by them. Carl Jung echoed the same core principle centuries later. Until you make the darkness conscious, it will control your life. Power isn't about erasing your darkness. It's about integrating it, using it wisely, controlling it carefully, directing it strategically. When your darkness becomes a tool, instead of a puppeteer, you rise above the flaw that destroys most people. Effective affirmation. My shadow serves my purpose. My strength serves my future. The final summary, the 12 lessons of power. Let's compress every insight into one final transformation. 1. Do not be predictable. Mystery is leverage. 2. Control emotional rushes. Impulse is the enemy. 3. Speak less. Silence is strategy. 4. Enforce boundaries ruthlessly. Tolerance signals your value. 5. Avoid attachment. Clarity requires distance. 6. Stop craving approval. Needing validation kills authority. 7. Lead with certainty. Confidence is more powerful than kindness. 8. Stay composed under pressure. Calmness is psychological dominance. 9. Strengthen your self-talk. Your inner voice shapes your fate. 10. Protect your emotional wounds. Vulnerability must be earned. 11. Practice non-reaction. The pause is your greatest weapon. 12. Be able to walk away. Independence is the root of power. All 12 lessons point to one truth. Power is not taken. It is cultivated. From within. The final message. For those who heard every word. If you've listened this far, it means you're not like everyone else. Most people click away when they hear truths like this. Most people prefer comfort over clarity, illusion over strength, reaction over discipline. But you didn't. You stayed. You absorbed. You confronted your own patterns. And you're ready to evolve into something stronger, sharper, and more strategic. Remember Machiavelli's final warning. Fortune favors the man who prepares himself. And now, you are preparing. The call to action, delivered with gravity. If this documentary gave you clarity, if it revealed something about yourself you needed to see, if it helped you step closer to the version of you that cannot be broken, then support this channel. Like the video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to join a community of people dedicated to strength, discipline, and psychological mastery. Your transformation doesn't end here. It begins here. More lessons await. More warnings. More strategies. More psychological weapons. For those who are ready to wield them. Until then, stay sharp. Stay calm. Stay untouchable. Machiavelli's warning.